before you got engaged to Roddy, if you could talk about a few things differently.
Oh, that's a great question.
That you would do that would, again, you have an amazing marriage and relationship. I see you guys all the time, but that you think, oh, this could have helped us have more peace and harmony, and just having the courage to talk about these things and really get clear, not just assume that it's going to be a certain way, but if I just would have said these few things and gotten an agreement, then it would have been a lot easier.
Yeah. Well, I think some of the things we did up front was we had a lot of big discussions about the big things in life.
Money,
kids, where we want to live, what kind of lives we want, how we're going to use our time, what our energy is going to be like during the week. We talked about things like me saying I'm committed to my purpose and Radhi saying I'm committed to my family. We talked about all of the big stuff. So that was very good. But one thing we didn't do as well till later on, and I see you doing it now, which is genius, is the agreements and the principles that help you make decisions on a daily, weekly basis. So it took us a lot longer to start forming agreements with things like, okay, well, if you're gonna go out this week, make sure you let me know so I can plan something else for myself.
I'm not around waiting for you.
So I'm not around waiting for you or expecting to spend time with you. Things like, okay, well, if we're going to be on our phones, let's set a rule about which parts of the home and which times we should do that versus when we'd like to be fully present with each other. So these took a lot longer to come. And I think if they were made earlier, it would have saved us time and energy, because now you don't have to go through these uncomfortable conversations later on.
Yeah, or like minor resentments for a day or whatever.
Totally.
Even though you guys forget every morning, but you still repeat the pattern.
You repeat the pattern, exactly. And
you
so,
let go of it, but you repeat the pattern.
Exactly. And so I think that coming up with those agreements and principles, which I know are so important in your relationship, we literally sat at dinner the other day and we were going back and forth with what are our agreements and things. And I think that being done earlier, I don't think we talk about the big stuff or the small stuff in relationships. We just talk about our feelings.
Yes.
So we say, I like you, you like me, great, we're doing well. Rather than saying, well, these are the big things, do we align? And let's talk about the small things.
I want to talk about you talk about on page 166 of the book, about every couple fights.
Yes.
Or should, and whatever you or your partner fight about, you're probably not alone. According to couple counselors, there are top 3 areas of conflict are money, sex, and how you raise children. I want to talk about this for a second. Before I talk about that, we talked about agreements, which I think are key when it comes to intimate love and also friendship and working environments, things like that. Agreements create alignment, it creates clarity, it creates peace, is what we all want, peace. And I think agreements create that. There's obviously a famous book called The 4 Agreements, but I'm curious if you had to create a book called The 4 Agreements of Love. What are 4 agreements that we should all have in an intimate, loving partner?
Oh, I said, okay, so I'm going to go practical.
This is off the cuff.
I like it. I'm going to go practical and philosophical. And obviously I have the 8 rules, which some of them could be agreements.
Yeah. But if you're like, we're going to create agreements going into marriage.
The first one I'd say is we sleep at the same time. I think that's a huge one. If you're living together, we go to sleep at the same time. So many studies show that when partners are in rhythm with each other, in sync with each other, our heartbeats sync, our breathing syncs. And if you have a healthy relationship, that can be really supportive to your connection. And couples who sleep together get to have important conversations. Right. They get to connect. They get to not feel or wonder, well, where's my partner? What are they up to? What are they doing? Now, of course, this has the caveat of there's at least twice a week, or when I'm traveling, when me and Radhi don't sleep at the same time, and that's okay. I may be at an event, she may be getting an early night, but it's kind of like, what's your rhythm, right? So that would be the first agreement. Make sure you sleep together. And I'd add to that one, make sure you sleep at the same time, and make sure you eat one meal together every day. Have one meal that's shared.
Before the interview continues, if you feel like you're not living your most authentic life, not leaning into your purpose, and not living the life that your future self would be extremely proud of, I've written a new book called The Greatness Mindset, and I think you're gonna love this. Through powerful stories, science-backed strategies, and step-by-step guidance, The Greatness Mindset will help you overcome all the different challenges in your life to design the life of your dreams and then turn it into your reality. Make sure to click the link below in the description to get your copy today. Okay, let's get back to this video.
The second agreement I'm going to make is when our partner wants our attention, we are completely available and undistracted. That we put our phones away, that we stop doing what you're doing when your partner requests that they need your undivided attention.
Hey, can you be present for me for a moment?
Correct. Yeah. And it has to be both ways. There has to be a request, and then there has to be the response. I think the challenge today is that there's no request. We just want our partner to react in that way. And then when our partner doesn't, we say, well, couldn't you tell I really wanted to talk to you? And it's like, well, I couldn't tell because I was looking at my phone. Yeah. And me and Radhi talked about this a lot, which was this idea of, hey, I'm on my phone a lot for work. I'm on my phone a lot with everything that we're doing. And I want to be present with you, but I need to know you need
tell me
100% of my presence.
Clearly tell me.
Clearly tell me. It's 100%, 50%, or 5%? Because sometimes you just want to say, are you taking your lunch with you? I'm like, yeah, I'll take it with me.
Right.
That's a 5% presence. But then sometimes it's like, I had a tough day. I want to talk to you about it. Mm-hmm. That's 100% presence.
Yeah, that's good.
So use that. That would be.
I like that.
And use that as defining how much presence you want from your partner.
Okay, that's number 2. Number 3.
Talk more about your issues with your partner or with a therapist than with other random people.
Oh, that's so good.
So I think that most people talk more about their partner to their friends than they do to their partner or a therapist who's qualified to help. And so most of our conversations revolve around talking to the 7 friends who love us, who care about us.
Back you up and say, yeah, she was wrong, and yeah, he was an idiot.
Literally.
Leave him.
Literally, you know? Yeah, exactly. And you're not actually talking to the person that you have a relationship with. And I find that interesting that some couples can go weeks without talking to each other, but they're talking to their friends about each other every day.
And resenting each other, and ruminating over
complaining about each other, criticizing, comparing. All of that takes over.
Well, so-and-so's husband does it this way, and he did this for his.
Exactly, yeah. Did you see what they did for their anniversary? Did you see how he proposed? Did you see how, and you're hearing that, and then that doesn't help you because you don't talk to your partner.
I like that one. So that's number 3. Number 4.
I like these.
The 4 agreements of love.
I'm going to have to write the book now. Now I'm going to have to write another book.
Another one, the follow-up.
The 4th one.
So let me recap the first 3. We sleep at the same time, and do your best to have a meal a day together.
Yeah.
When your partner wants our full attention, be present and make sure it's communicated on both sides.
Yeah, and the main part there, the practical thing is the percentage. Yes. Do you want 100% of your partner's attention or 5%?
Right.
Say it.
3rd one, talk more about your issues with your actual partner over your friends or people that are unqualified. Your partner or your therapist.
Yeah.
And the 4th agreement of love.
Expect people to change and for you to evolve. And so keep getting to know them again and again and again. Don't live in this world that my partner's never going to change. We're going to stay the same. Everything's going to be the same. I think this addiction to the same stops us from the most beautiful thing in love, which can be change. And if you expect that your partner is going to grow, you keep getting to know them. I think one of the biggest mistakes we make is we think we know our partners, and so we stop asking them questions. We think we understand them fully, so we're no longer curious. We assume that we can read their mind, and so we never check. And that's when you end up in a surprise when 10 years from now you both go, I didn't marry you, I didn't want to be with you, you're a totally different person. And the person's thinking, yeah, of course I'm a different person, but we never got to know each other again. So get to know each other again and again and again and again and again. Don't leave it to think, oh yeah, I know exactly everything about them. I remember I was coaching someone once, and I was coaching them as a couple, and one of the partners would always say to me, they'd say, well, you don't really understand her. You don't really know her. I know her. I know what she's like. Now that was true. They did know their partner better than me because they'd spent more years together. But the challenge that they were making at that point is they thought their partner was stuck to being that person. And their partner was feeling like they don't feel understood anymore. So you've got one person saying, Jay, you don't understand them as the coach. I understand them deeply. And I'm like, I know you do. But their partner's problem with them is, I don't feel understood anymore.
Right, but they're telling me something different.
Exactly, exactly. And so I feel like getting to know your partner every week, every month, like almost look at your partner through the lens of, if I don't see them in new scenarios, I won't learn new things about them.
What's a question you could ask your partner every month? It could be the same question that would support you in getting to know them in a new way every time you do it.
Yeah. So I have 4 questions. One for every day, one for every week, one for every quarter, and one for every year that you can ask your partner.
Every day?
So the question every day is, what did you do for yourself today? Your partner probably spends a lot of their time thinking about you, thinking about the kids, thinking about work. If you remind them to love themselves, that's potentially the best reminder you could give them. What did you do for yourself today? The question that you want to ask every week is, what did you learn this week? What was something that you gained? What was something that you picked up this week that you're going to take into next week? Every quarter, ask your partner, is this is the most uncomfortable one. Is this relationship going in the direction we want?
Ooh.
If it is, what should we keep doing? If it isn't, what are we willing to do to get it there? That to me is the most powerful, most important question in a relationship.
Yeah, say it one time. Is
this relationship going in the direction we want? So this is that making sure you stay on course. You think about people who only set New Year's resolutions. You went off course in month 1, but you only sat back with your New Year's resolution 11 months later. You don't have to wait for 11 months to do that, but that's what we do because you only set New Year's resolutions. So don't do that with your partner. And the 4th question every year is, what's your goal? What are you pursuing this year? And how can I help? Right? And that how can I help is something that also goes with that weekly question of, what did you learn this week and how can I help? I think our partners rarely hear us say, how can I help? We're usually asking them for help. When you go up to your partner, you say, I'm really struggling with this. Can you help me? You really go up to them and say, I see you're struggling with this. Can I help you? And I found that to be one of the most beautiful questions that I ask Radhi, where I often check in with her and say, look, I can see you're struggling with this. So I know this has been on your mind. How can I help you with that? Yeah. And most often her answer is, nothing, I'm fine. But the fact that you checked in with me just made me feel better. It's not even like they're going to turn around and be like, here's a laundry list of things I want you to do for me. It doesn't even work that way. It's just, she will say, thank you for noticing that. Most of the time, it's not that our partners feel misunderstood. It's that they feel unnoticed and unseen and unheard.
Right.
Misunderstood means you tried to understand, but you made a mistake.
It's so good you're saying that because I feel like I've started to learn this better over the last few years. So I haven't always been this way, but with Martha, whenever we have a conversation about anything that might be trying to get it to a resolution about something, an agreement or whatever, when we're done, I like to say, I don't do it all the time, but I like to say, do you feel heard and seen? And most of the time she's like, yes, thank you for hearing me and for seeing me. And I think, again, like you said, most of us want to feel heard and seen. And even if you just say it like that, do you feel like I was able to hear you clearly and see you for what you're going through? It gives people peace and ease and safety in that moment and in the relationship. Especially, again, if people, this is not Martha, but if people are working to feel lovable themselves, or sometimes they don't feel lovable, they may need to feel heard and seen more to actually feel loved.
Yes. I'm just saying that finding love takes effort, keeping love takes effort. Both of them take effort.
Yeah. And you talk about these 4 stages of preparing for love.
Yeah.
What are the stages? Because I think a lot of the people romanticize about you're going to meet someone, you're going to fall in love, and you're just going to know